Welcome everyone tonight. I'm Dr. Leanne Kalaba, chiropractor at Lifeline Wellness Center, and I am presenting something that's really important to me and something I'm really passionate about called 21 Essential Healing Tips. One of the reasons this is really important to me is because I have spent more than half of my life investigating, exploring, and researching holistic or alternative healing, health modalities, natural remedies, all of those great things, some simply out of interest and curiosity, and others out of necessity. So I do have chronic Epstein-Barr virus. I don't know if everybody knows that. And just letting somebody else in the room right here. And because of that chronic Epstein-Barr, I have had to find alternative ways to really keep myself healthy. And I simply wasn't willing to go down the Western medicine route. And so these 21, there's actually a couple of bonus tips in here. These 21 healing tips are things that I have uncovered over the years that either had made a great impact for me to do in the short term, or they're things I do all the time. And depending on what your goals are or what you're trying to address, you might find the same true for you. So I'm going to jump right in. And the first one is morning lemon water. So this is our tip number one. You can squeeze some lemon juice into some warm water in the morning. You can use as little as just a few drops to up to a tablespoon. Liver not only provides, lemons not only provide vitamin C, but they actually support the liver and gallbladder function. So there's lots of antioxidants, and it even helps boost your mood and energy. It helps kickstart your metabolism a little bit as well. So I love starting my morning with a warm glass of lemon water. You really only need 2 to 6 ounces. It's not like you have to have a lot. And so that is a great thing to do, especially if you feel like you have a sluggish gallbladder. And you might know that by fatty foods that give you a little bit of an upset stomach, some acid reflux, belching after eating fatty foods. You could use some liver and gallbladder support. And some nice, refreshing morning lemon water is an easy way to do that. All right, we're going to jump right into tip number 2, which is drinking plenty of water. So many times people will feel tired halfway through the day, maybe hungry or achy or cranky, and it's simply because they're not drinking enough water. So the average person should be able to take their weight in pounds, divide it in half, and that's how many ounces of water you should be drinking to get fully hydrated. And so the first step to this tip is actually, how much are you drinking right now? Just start with that. Take a day, record how many ounces you drink, then figure out how many ounces you should be drinking, and then start building up to it. Now, if you're only drinking 5 ounces of water a day and you should be at 100 ounces, you don't want to go from 5 to 100 overnight. You actually will overload your kidneys. So you build up slowly. Other things that water can help with, obviously any kind of itchy or rashy skin conditions, water helps hydrate your skin. Like I said, fatigue in the afternoon especially is oftentimes a result of lack of water. Muscle soreness can be from dehydration as well, so achy muscles and even joints. So you might be surprised at the sort of things that can respond simply by drinking more water. All right, so let's look at a bonus tip. This is actually something I'm communicating to everybody in the office right now, because I don't want anybody to feel helpless in the face of the virus. And so you can take immune boosting supplements. What I've highlighted here are vitamins A, C, and D. You can also add zinc. You can add quercetin. And all of those can help you take some of your power back. So vitamins A and C are both antiviral. They're able to support the immune system. So you basically, you want to take 3,000 to 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day. Okay, this is just your standard protocol to keep yourself as healthy as possible. For vitamin A, you want to take 5,000 international units. Of course, if you're a pregnant or lactating mother, you don't want to take that much. But ask me about that in the office if you have questions. And then vitamin D is also very helpful in fighting infections. And you want to just have a maintenance level of at least 2,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. There's some listings here for actually if you start feeling like you're getting sick and you want to knock it out as soon as possible. At the first sign of illness, you want to take 1,000 milligrams an hour until you get loose stools, and then you want to back off. Now, the reason that happens is because vitamin C is water soluble. And so if you take too much, your body's really smart. It's going to get rid of it as quickly as possible. So you back off a little bit and you should be able to absorb as much as your body can handle. For vitamin A, you actually at first signs of illness, you want to take 100,000 units for 4 days. Now, this is going to be way more than what you find recommended by any medical professional. But this is what you do in the short term to really ramp up your vitamin A. And then at that point, you stop taking it. Now, it's important that you're not taking beta carotene. That's not a complete vitamin A. You want to take a supplement that is vitamin A. And then lastly, at first signs of illness for vitamin D, you want to up your intake to 5,000 international units of vitamin D for 4 days, and then you want to stop. So that's what you can do to help support yourself and keep your immune system really strong. Obviously, there's no bulletproof protocol here, but there are things we can do. So let's do what we can do. All right, this leads us to our essential healing tip number 3. Enjoy the power of fruit. So I know a lot of times people get tied up in the idea that fruit is high sugar content and high carb, and that we want to avoid it at all costs. Well, we don't really want to avoid it at all costs. Some is really good for us. So up to a cup a day with 2 meals is really, really beneficial, especially if you're eating blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, any of the berries. They're high antioxidant. Like I said, they have lots of vitamin C in them, like the lemon juice does. And, there's a really irrational fear sometimes around trying to keep everything as low glycemic as possible. Well, if you have an issue in that regard, then that's important, but it doesn't mean you have to totally cut out your fruit. You can enjoy your fruit as part of a really healthy, whole balanced diet. All right, tip number 4. This is one I especially love, and it's what I call a gratitude journal, or expressing gratitude. Starting with writing out all the things that you love about yourself, writing all the things you love about your life. And it's not just about writing it down, it's about really feeling it, feeling how amazing you are to be thriving after anything you may have gone through. And remember that gratitude is the ultimate attitude for receiving more. And so for me, one of the tips I like to give is the really beneficial feeling of love and gratitude is simple for me when I think about my kitty cat. Okay, you guys might think about your kids if you have them, or your pets. And what that really feels like, even physically, the feeling in your chest you get when you just feel that love. And when you feel that while you're writing down your gratitudes, you're just calling more of that into your life. And so that's my essential healing tip number 4. All right, let's talk about number 5, walk more. It's so funny today when you watch people driving around parking lots. And it's kind of like their goal is to get as close to the store as possible. Well, that's not my goal. My goal, first of all, is to find shade, which I hope you guys can laugh at living in Tucson. And then secondly, it's, well, how far do I want to walk? I can park on the opposite end of the parking lot and walk to the store and get some good exercise, healthy sunshine, and some fresh air in me. And so I do that every chance I can get. So park as far from the building as you can and walk there, especially now the temperatures have dropped a little bit. Walking is definitely part of what can help keep excess weight off. It helps your cardiovascular health. And if there are stairs involved, I always take the stairs. I never use an elevator or take an escalator if I have a choice. All right, our tip number 6, get in bed and try and fall asleep by 10 p.m. So our bodies produce human growth hormone, HGH. This is the hormone that is responsible for repair and rejuvenation of every tissue of your body. And it's produced at its highest level between 10 p.m. and midnight. So if you're not sleeping between 10 p.m. and midnight, you are impacting and negating the value of your HGH. So I always tell people to try and get into bed by 10 o'clock. So the more sleep you get between 10 and midnight, the more healing hormone you produce. And for some people, they can't fall asleep right away. So it's also a good idea to turn off all your electronics. I think this actually might be a later tip, but turn off all your electronics about an hour before you go to bed. Maybe start reading at that point, or maybe that's when you journal, so that you can fall asleep by 10 o'clock. All right, move your body. Healthy tip number 7. Every 15 minutes, I suggest that you stand up and move, whether that's walking from your desk to the kitchen stove where you set a 15-minute timer, walking to the water cooler if you're in a workplace office, even just walking around your house if you're retired and at home. So if you have stiffness and low back pain after sitting at your desk or on the couch, one of the resolutions to that is to get up more often. So trying to limit your sitting to 15 minutes. I know that seems like a lot, and I'm probably going to sit more than 15 minutes during this webinar tonight. But if you do that more times than not, you're going to be in better shape. So the joint motion and muscle activity actually helps alleviate that achy back. All right, here's another bonus tip. Find a great chiropractor. So there's a common misconception. The chiropractic is only for neck and back pain. But chiropractic is the most effective and conservative care for those issues and many more. We are nervous system experts, and the nervous system controls every cell of your body. So when you have a healthy nervous system, and you have clear communication signals to those cells, the body functions at a higher level. It's really pretty simple from that perspective. So if you or someone you know is looking for a great chiropractor, send them our way. We're happy to help. All right, essential tip number 8. Digestion is the most energy intensive process in the body physiologically. So let's stop eating by 7 p.m. to give our bodies a chance to digest our food before we go to sleep at 10. So by not eating late at night, you free up energy that is being used for digestion so that it can be used for that rejuvenation and healing process instead while you're sleeping. I actually stop eating usually by before 7. Sometimes I'm finished eating at 4 and I don't even go home and have dinner. So that definitely is a great tip to help your body, one, have better digestion, and two, to have better healing at night. All right. My next item, this is something that I'm also really passionate about because I love essential oils. So did you know that synthetic fragrances, perfumes, colognes, dryer sheets are actually being labeled as the new cigarettes? Many of those fragrances are made from toxic synthetic chemicals. I can't go into a room where there's a lot of cologne or heavy chemicals because I'm just too sensitive to it. That's actually part of the Epstein-Barr virus that I mentioned to you. So what do you do as an alternative? Because we all like to smell good, right? So using essential oils. In here I mentioned Young Living, but there's doTERRA. There's a couple of other ones that are high quality as well. I would not buy essential oils at the grocery store or Walmart or Costco. I would get them from a really reputable source. We want 100% pure plant-based essential oils like lavender or sandalwood, citrus. And what you do is you take those oils, for example, and you put them on a wool dryer ball, and that's what you throw in your dryer with your clothes to make your clothes smell good. You can also use essential oils in hand soaps. You can use them as your perfume, and you can use them to replace those toxic air fresheners that squirt fragrance into your house or your car. And especially if you have pets or little kids crawling around on the floor. I've heard it over and over again from veterinarians where people bring in pets who are having seizures. And the first question they ask is, are you using the plugins? And if they are, 90% of the time, that's the cause. So there are other ways to create pleasant fragrances than those toxic chemicals. All right. Tip number 10, reduce gluten consumption. So many people are sensitive to gluten, and you may be able to tell informally yourself. If you eat pasta, if you have a sandwich, do you get a runny nose? Do you get postnasal drip? Do you need a nap after eating? Or do your joints hurt the next day? That's something that happens to me. Then you have a gluten sensitivity. Every time I eat Beyond Bread, even though it's one of my favorite places, my knees and elbows hurt the next day like clockwork. It's not because their bread is bad. It's just because I'm sensitive to the gluten. You might be too. So what you can do is you can cut it out of your diet, and you can see how you respond. Do you still get that afternoon energy slump? If you can try up to a week, that would be great. See how you feel without it. And then what you do is you eat it again. And then you see how you feel when you eat it. You'll get a pretty good idea if gluten is something you should be consuming or not. All right, tip number 11, make a smoothie for breakfast. I have a smoothie every single day. It's a really great way to get lots of vitamins and minerals into a really healthy meal with healthy fats, if you add your fat to that. So blending up vegetables and fruits maximizes and creates an easily digestible meal. So you can get raw veggies in there. You can put, like in the picture, apples. One of my favorite smoothies is peaches and parsley, believe it or not. And last weekend I made a blueberry and pear smoothie. It tasted like blueberry creamsicles. So I use organic coconut milk as my smoothie base. And I put a tablespoon of MCT oil in my smoothie as well to get my healthy fats, as well as half an avocado. You can pretty much make anything taste good with that. If you need a little bit of sweetener, then I like the vanilla cream, the liquid vanilla cream stevia, just a couple of drops. If you want my cacao smoothie recipe, which basically is chocolate milk when you get done with it, let me know. I would be happy to share that with you. All right, healing tip number 12, change your negative thoughts. So how often do you notice that you criticize yourself in your head? From something as simple as, I can't believe I said that, to I hate myself. So my request of you is to stop doing that. You know when it happens. And even if you have to substitute in the short term, it's not that you hate yourself, it's that you hate the things that you do. It's a very different statement. So I love myself, but I hate the things that I do or that I do to myself. Or you can quite simply, instead of saying, I hate myself, or I'm an idiot, or whatever it is, whatever that self-talk is, just change it to I love myself. How many times a day can you say that? And how different do you think you'll feel at the end of the day if you say that about yourself? All right, intermittent fasting is our essential healing tip number 13. So try fasting for 16 hours. And what that means is from dinner at 6 p.m. to lunch at 10 a.m. the next morning. Fasting helps kickstart your metabolism. It can help you lose weight. It improves your health. It boosts your immune system. It simplifies your lifestyle. It's a whole meal you don't have to come up with. So that's something. Some people do a daily fast once a week. So they pick one day a week and they fast for those 16 hours. And that's a great place to start. You don't have to overhaul and change everything all in one day. Just start with some simple changes and see how it goes. All right, another one here, meditate for even as little as 5 to 10 minutes a day. So this is our tip number 14. Meditation is a great way to reduce anxiety. So many people think that meditation is about sitting really quietly and having no thoughts. Well, that's one way to meditate. But another way you can meditate is through guided meditations, which are super easy to find on the internet. You have someone walk you through what you're going to be thinking about in your mind. And the reason this works is because what they're walking you through is not your normal mind chatter. It's something else. That's how it breaks the pattern. So I would recommend looking up Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dispenza. He's actually a chiropractor with a great story. Now he teaches meditations and he's doing some amazing research. He's got a few YouTube videos. The evening meditation is fantastic. You will probably get interrupted by a commercial. But then there's also a meditation Monday through Hay House that has a 15-minute meditation from him. So one of those two would be a really great one to just try. Maybe try it this weekend. See what you think and let me know. Okay, essential healing tip number 15. Visualize yourself having a successful day. How many of you start your day thinking about what you want it to look like and how you want it to turn out? I do every single morning. How do I want my day to go? How do I want to feel? How do I want to impact others? Visualize these things. See yourself doing them. Set yourself up for success. And you don't have to do your whole day. Maybe you just pick a part of your day, again, just to start off with. What can you do to inspire yourself in the morning to create a day that you look back on and you say, dang, I'm really happy I did that. All right, here's another food tip. Celery juice. How many of you know that celery juice is full of minerals, which are electrolytes? So vitamins and minerals, they're electrolytes. It is the most hydrating vegetable you can consume. It has the perfect ratios of exactly what we need to hydrate our bodies. So it's got a large amount of vitamins and minerals. It's very healthy for the digestive tract. It helps reduce acid reflux. It aids in overall detoxification, and it helps supply the nutrients your GI tract actually needs to heal. It provides the fuel, the very cells, they're called enterocytes. It provides the fuel the very cells need to heal. And so if you have digestive issues, if you have acid reflux, if you have belching, those sort of things can respond really, really well to celery juice. Now, if you've never juiced celery, well, first of all, you have to have a juicer, or you could do it in a blender and just filter out the pulp with a cheesecloth. But you pretty much have to juice a whole head of celery to get a glass. But you don't have to drink the whole glass at once, 4 to 6 ounces. And then put the second serving in your refrigerator if you're going to do it the next day, or it freezes really well. I usually juice a bunch at one time, so I don't have to go through that process of setting up and cleaning my juicer. But it's really, really helpful for your digestive tract. Okay, healing tip number 17. So this is what I alluded to earlier. I forgot it was actually in here. Unplug from all electronics an hour prior to going to bed. I want to see what kind of difference it makes for you, especially if you have trouble turning your mind off, slowing down those thoughts. Then stop stimulating yourself all the way up until bedtime. Part of it is just our circadian rhythms, and the light that comes off of our devices tricks our brain into thinking it's sunshine and that it's actually not time for bed yet. So if you have a hard time falling asleep at night, one of the things you can do for yourself is start reading under a dim light for that last hour. Red light is also something you could do, is buy a red light bulb. Because that actually helps your brain thinks that it's dusk. So that is healing tip number 17. All right, number 18. We are a society that has been trained that fat is bad for us. Fat is not bad for us. Bad fat is bad for us. Healthy fat is amazing for us. Our bodies need healthy fat in order to, one, lose weight. They help us lower pain and inflammation. They actually reduce cholesterol and have a lot of other benefits. Fat is present in every single cell of our body. It's part of the lipid membrane that surrounds the outside of our cells. So we need fat. There are some professionals and some scientists who would say the reason why we're having so many brain disorders and memory issues like Alzheimer's is because we're generations that have been grown up avoiding fat. And that has not been good for us. And so eat an avocado, have olives, coconut oil, olive oil, coconut oil. All of those things are healthy to have in moderation every day. So you could do a tablespoon of fat with every single meal that you eat and still be in good shape. That includes grass-fed butter, which is the only dairy I would ever recommend. The brand, a good brand, is Kerrygold. You may know of some other ones. Ghee, which is clarified butter. The oils that I mentioned, or replace the oils instead and do a small avocado. You could eat an avocado with every meal and still be in good shape fat-wise. It's actually healthy for us. All right, essential tip number 19. This might be something that people have never thought about. Clean up your clutter. Clean up the clutter in the space you spend the most time in and see how your life changes. I know it may seem really simplistic and it may seem completely unrelated, but when you spend your time in a clean, simple, uncluttered space, you perceive life more cleanly, simple, and uncluttered. And I speak this from experience. And so I'm sure you guys have all had the experience of being at a cluttered desk with things stacked on top of each other. Honestly, unfortunately, it's kind of what my desk looks like right now. And then always feeling like I'm never getting anything done or that things feel chaotic. And then as soon as I get things organized, you know, it's like you can take that deep breath and you can go, ah, that feels so much better. It really does. It plays into the rest of your life. So this is another one that's fun to play with. Do it for yourself and see what happens. I'd love to hear about it. All right, healing tip number 20. Make a batch of bone broth. I wonder how many of you have ever made bone broth. I just did it 2 weekends ago. It was my best batch ever. So you can get cow bones, femur bones at, I know for sure Whole Foods has them across from their meat department in the freezer. And I can get you a recipe for this as well. But what I do is I put about a pound of these bones in water. I also get some chicken feet. Actually, they're calling them chicken paws now. I didn't know chicken had paws. I thought they had feet, but here we are. Because of all of the collagen and the fat content that's in the chicken feet is really, really good for us. And you need to put something a little acidic in there because that helps break down the minerals in the bones. So I personally like to use lemon juice. You can also use apple cider vinegar. Some people like to put garlic and some other veggies in there, but I tend to keep mine really clean. And I turn up the crock pot and I get it to boil. Then I turn it down to low and I let it go for 24 to 48 hours. And then I strain out the bones and I have this amazing bone broth. You can call it stock if you want, your soup base, that you can literally drink like a glass of tea. Depending on how much fat ends up in there, I parse mine out into glass jars and then I put it in the refrigerator. And then some of the jars end up with all the fat. So some of the fat I scrape off the top and throw away. And then I keep in my refrigerator what I'm going to use for a couple of days and the rest of it goes in the freezer. And it's good for honestly up to a couple of years. I still pull things out. I use it with frozen vegetables to make a quick soup. I do drink it like tea, heat it up, especially if I'm not feeling well. One of those cases where I want to knock something out, I might put a bunch of raw garlic in there and drink it like tea. It's full of vitamins and minerals that come out of those bones and that bone marrow and out of the chicken paws. And it's just super yummy. It's a great way to make your own stock. And in the end, you get enough out of it that it's way cheaper than what you buy in the containers in the store. All right, this is my last healing tip. Tip number 21, have fun. Don't take life so seriously all the time. Do something for yourself that you haven't done in ages. When we get caught up in the daily grind, we kind of lose sight of the things that can make us happy, that lower our stress, and ultimately the things that make our life worth living. So remember what it feels like to do something you love just for fun, and then go do it because you deserve it. So I'd love to hear stories about what this might be for people. So next time you're in the office, let me know. Let me know what you did for fun. So, okay, I'm at the end of my 21 essential health tips. So as I said, I'm Dr. Leanne Kalaba. I put this list together actually over a few years' time because it's something that is really important and that I'm passionate about. Like changes people can make, small incremental changes you can make to live a healthier life and to be happier, and hopefully have less stress. You don't have to turn anything on its head. You don't have to throw everything out of your kitchen. You don't have to completely turn your routine upside down. Just take a few small steps. Find a couple of these that appeal to you, and implement them. Even try them just for a couple of days at a time and see if it's right.